Have you ever felt stuck in the dark? Your body lies still, but your mind feels like it's drowning in waves. Replay after replay of mistakes, scenes of disasters that never even happened. By day, you smile, but at night, it's a battlefield. Pressure, fear, doubt. Do you ever feel like you're being swept away with no way to stop? If you're nodding right now, you're not alone. Most of us carry heavier burdens than we ever admit. Anxiety about money, about relationships, about health, about the future. We plan every step. We try to control every detail, and still that nagging sense of not enough refuses to let go. I know that feeling, because I lived it too, until I found a path, not in an app, not in a therapist's office, though both can help, but in a philosophy that's over 2,000 years old. Stoicism, a way of living practiced by emperors, soldiers, slaves, and scholars. And here's the incredible part. It works today, just as it did back then, because life has always been chaotic. War, illness, betrayal, loss. The ancients couldn't control the world around them, but they learned to master their response. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That line struck me like lightning. I saw how many years I had wasted trying to change what I never could, while the only thing I could ever truly train was my own mind. So I began small. I practiced imagining hardship, so fear lost its grip. I learned to separate what's in my control and what's not. I limited my inputs, protecting my mind like a garden. And each night, I looked back. Did I live true to my values today? And you know what? When you start living like a stoic, anxiety stops being your jailer. It becomes your teacher. Every challenge says, "Here is where you grow." In struggle, you find resilience. In failure, you find growth. My message to you is simple. You cannot control the storm, but you can train yourself to stand firm within it. Stoicism doesn't promise a life without hardship. It offers something greater, a calm the world can never take away. So right now, say it with me. I choose calm. I choose strength. I choose stoicism. Let those words become your compass. And if this message resonates with you, try it today. Share it. Live it. Because in a chaotic world, your steadiness is your greatest power. Practice. 1. Dichotomy of control. Have you ever wished you could stay calm even when life feels like a storm? The good news is, people have done it. For over 2,000 years, they were the Stoics, and they left us 10 practices, 10 habits to turn anxiety into strength, failure into lessons, and adversity into the path itself. On this journey, you'll learn how to separate what's in your control from what isn't, how to live fully in the present, how to practice gratitude, anticipate hardship, and review your day each night. You'll learn how to embrace discomfort to love fate, instead of resisting it, to guard your mind like a garden, and to live by virtue rather than chasing results. And finally, you'll see that serving others is the best way to lift yourself. This isn't just technique, it's a way of life, to become stronger, calmer, kinder. And today we begin with the very first practice. Practice 1. The dichotomy of control. Have you ever stayed awake all night not because of what happened, but because of what you couldn't control? Worried about what others think, angry at a boss's decision, terrified of a future that hasn't even arrived. Stop for a second and ask yourself, how many times have you been chained by things that were never truly yours? The Stoics gave us a simple, powerful answer. There are things within your control and things outside of it. Epictetus, once born a slave, put it plainly. Some things are up to us, some things are not. Picture your life split into two buckets. The first bucket, what you control: your thoughts, your actions, your choices, your reactions, your values. The second bucket, what you do not control: your past, the actions of others, final outcomes, and most of the future. The problem: most of us pour our energy into the second bucket. We rage at traffic. We spiral over a nasty comment online. We burn out over corporate decisions, and then we wonder, why am I always so anxious? The Stoics did the opposite. They returned to the first bucket, insulted. They didn't waste time changing the insulter. They chose calm, betrayed. They didn't let resentment consume them. They chose integrity. Facing an uncertain future, they didn't try to predict it. They trained their mind in the present. You can try it right now. Someone writes something cruel about you online. Can you control their keyboard? No, but you can control your reaction, your dignity, your peace. You lose a job. Can you control the company's decision? No, but you can control how you respond. Learning, growing, returning stronger. Every time you ask, is this within my control? You clear the junk from your mind. You focus your energy where it can actually grow into strength. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This isn't just philosophy, it's freedom. So next time anxiety crashes in, remember the two buckets. Put everything in its place. Hold on to what is yours. Let go of what isn't. And right now, say it with me as a vow: I control my actions. I do not control the world. And in that truth, I am free. Practice it today. And if this message resonates, share it, because someone out there may need the same reminder they are stronger than they think. Practice 2. Living in the present. How many times have you sat there, your body here, but your mind dragged away? One moment replaying old mistakes, the next trembling over disasters that haven't even happened, like a puppet stretched between past and future. And you wonder, why am I exhausted, even when the present is completely safe? The Stoics gave us a sharp, simple reminder: limit yourself to the present moment. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "Don't let the past distract you. Don't let the future disturb you. Focus only on the moment at hand." He understood a truth we often forget. Anxiety only survives in two places: past and future. It cannot live in the present unless you invite it in. Picture your mind like a kitchen. The past is dirty dishes stacked in the sink. The future is bags of groceries you haven't unpacked. But the present is the countertop where you cook. If the kitchen is too cluttered, you can't make a meal. Only when you clear it can you see the counter and prepare something nourishing. You can practice this right now. When anxiety arrives, ask yourself, am I here or lost in a world of what-ifs? If your mind runs away, call it back with your senses. Feel your feet against the floor. Take a deep breath. Listen to the hum of the fan, the traffic outside, or even your own heartbeat. When you return to your body, you return to reality. I remember being haunted by a lost opportunity. I kept spinning in circles. If only I had done better. If only I had more time. If only they understood me. But in that storm, I missed the only thing left, the present. Until I placed my hand on my chest, closed my eyes, and breathed. And in that moment, I realized right now I am alive. I am breathing. And that is enough. The Stoics never told us to pretend tragedy won't come. They only said don't live it 100 times in your imagination. When the future arrives, you'll have the same reason, the same strength that you have now. So when anxiety floods in, remember, the past is closed. The future hasn't opened. The only moment you truly own is now. And right here, right now, you are enough. Say it with me. This moment is enough. This moment is enough. This moment is enough. Try it today. Just 1 minute. Every time your mind wanders, gently pull it back. Because in the present, you will find peace. And in that peace, you will find yourself. Practice. 3. Daily gratitude. Have you ever woken up and instantly felt a sense of lack? Not enough money, not enough time, not enough recognition. It's like your mind is holding a magnifying glass, zooming in on every gap in your life. But what if you swapped that lens for a wide-angle one? You'd see the truth as long as you're alive, breathing, thinking, loving. You already hold a priceless gift. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "When you wake up in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love. A privilege, not a guarantee." The problem is, our minds get stuck in the loop of lack. A credit card bill unpaid, a project unfinished, a fragile relationship hanging by a thread. And instead of living in the present, we live in imagined scarcity. The Stoics gave us a simple medicine: gratitude. When you practice gratitude, you leave the emptiness and step into fullness. When you practice gratitude, endless craving quiets down and peace takes its place. I remember losing a major project once. Immediately my mind spiraled. I failed. I missed my chance. But then I paused and asked, what do I still have in my hands? I still had my health. I still had my family. I still had the ability to learn. I still had the chance to start again. And in that moment, anxiety stepped back. Strength stepped forward. You can practice this every day, in the morning over your coffee, at night before sleep. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big. Your child's smile, an unexpected call from an old friend, a cool breeze drifting through the window. And when adversity comes, instead of asking, what have I lost? Ask, what do I still have? It's like a house. If you only look at the broken door, you see loss. But if you step back, you'll see the whole house still standing, still protecting you from the storm. Seneca once said, "The wealthiest person is not the one who has the most, but the one who needs the least." And needing less always begins with a grateful heart. Gratitude doesn't erase hardship, but it makes the mind stronger, calmer, steadier enough to walk through any storm. Say it with me: I am grateful to be alive. I am grateful to be breathing. I am grateful for the chance to love and to grow today. And tonight, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Because when gratitude is real, anxiety has no place to hide, and you'll find within you a quiet, unshakable strength. Practice. 4. Negative visualization. Be honest with me. How many nights have you lost sleep because your mind was busy playing a movie? A disaster film that never even happened. You imagine losing your job. You fear a relationship falling apart. You shake at the thought of rejection, of humiliation. And your body reacts as if the storm has already arrived. Why is the mind so cruel? And is there a way to turn fear into strength? The Stoics had a method. It sounds strange at first, but it's really the art of preparation. Premeditatio malorum. the premeditation of evils. At first you might think, why would I purposely imagine the worst? Isn't that pessimistic? But no, this isn't about feeding fear. It's about practicing calm. Seneca once wrote, "The man who has anticipated misfortunes has disarmed them of their power when they arrive." Picture this. You're about to walk into a big interview. Instead of letting vague fear swallow you whole, you sit down and ask, what's the worst that could happen? If I'm rejected, what then? And suddenly you see, the worst case isn't the end of the world. You still have your skills, you still have other opportunities, you still have your own worth. In that moment, fear loses its grip, and calm steps in. The Stoics practiced this every day. They reminded themselves, today someone may insult me. I may lose something. Plans may collapse. If that happens, how will I respond? By accepting the worst-case scenario, they stripped adversity of its power. Anxiety is born from uncertainty, but once you shine a light on the darkness, it's no longer terrifying, like stepping into a pitch-black room. Stand outside and you'll imagine monsters. Turn on the light and you'll see just four walls. I remember a season when I was haunted by the thought of losing everything: my job, my reputation, my trust. So I wrote it down. If everything crumbles, what do I still have? And I realized I still had my health. I still had my knowledge. I still had the ability to start over. That exercise didn't push me into despair. It made me calmer. It made me stronger. Premeditatio malorum doesn't make you pessimistic. It makes you a spiritual warrior. When you've already rehearsed adversity in your mind, life has a hard time knocking you down. So tomorrow morning before your day begins, close your eyes and ask, what's the worst that could happen today, and how will I face it? With dignity, with calm. Now say it with me. I do not fear adversity. I prepare for it. And because of that, it cannot defeat me. That is the power of Stoicism. That is true freedom of the mind. Practice 5. The nightly review. Picture this. Before you close your eyes, you don't grab your phone. You don't scroll one more headline. You don't replay that stressful meeting in your head. Instead, you sit still, alone, in the quiet, and you ask yourself, how did I live today? Do you dare, even if the answer makes you uncomfortable? The Stoics believed one of the most powerful rituals to train the mind was the nightly review. Seneca once wrote, "When the light has been taken away and my house is silent, I examine my entire day, going over each word, each action." This isn't punishment. It isn't self-beating. It's the art of learning from your own experience. Most of us run away from today straight into tomorrow. We bury our mistakes. We avoid our emotions. We skip the chance to know ourselves. But when you stop, when you look honestly, you begin to see what made you proud, what stole your peace, what you want to do differently tomorrow. Try asking yourself at the end of each day, did I live with courage? Did I let the world steal my calm? Did I stay true to my values? Each question is a mirror that doesn't flatter or distort. It shows you your real spiritual face, sometimes bright, sometimes dark, but always true. And in that truth, growth begins. I remember a time when every night was filled with anxiety. I ran into sleep like it was an escape. Until one night, I tried writing down 3 things I did well and 3 things I could improve. No judgment, no blame, just noticing. And slowly, I began to see patterns. I saw what triggered me. I learned how to prepare better, and my mind grew lighter. My sleep grew calmer. Think of it like cleaning the kitchen before bed. You don't leave dirty dishes piled high. You wash them so that in the morning you walk into a clear, ready space. The nightly review does the same for your mind. It sharpens awareness. It builds discipline. It keeps you steady in a chaotic world. Marcus Aurelius turned this practice into his meditations, a private journal never meant for the world, just notes to keep himself humble, clear, faithful to his values. You can do the same. The nightly review is not a sentence passed on you. It's an invitation to grow, to wake up tomorrow with a clearer mind, a stronger heart. So tonight, try it. 5 minutes, pen to paper, ask, write, breathe, and say it with me. I learn from today. I prepare for tomorrow. I live true to my values. Because only when you dare to face your own soul will you truly find peace. Practice 6. Voluntary discomfort. Ask yourself, why does one splash of cold water in the morning feel like the world is ending? Why does skipping a single meal leave us restless on edge? Maybe it's not because hardship is too big. Maybe it's because we've never trained to face it. The Stoics had a strange but powerful secret: voluntary discomfort. Seneca, one of the wealthiest philosophers of Rome, practiced living poor. He slept on the hard ground. He ate plain food. He wore rough clothes. And then he asked himself, is this what I was so afraid of? He realized something life-changing. When you dare to face lack, it loses its grip. When you grow familiar with loss, you break free from fear. You can try this in your own life. Take a cold shower and remind yourself this body can endure. Skip a meal and see you're still fine, still moving, still alive. Wake up an hour earlier and tackle the hardest task first. Feel the strength of discipline. Or simply turn off social media for a day and notice your mind doesn't depend on it. Each act of discomfort is a workout for the spirit. Like lifting weights for your muscles, you're lifting resilience for your will. You remind yourself you are stronger than comfort. You are not its slave. And that is a freedom money or status can never buy. Anxiety often comes from exaggeration. We fear failure because we imagine it will destroy us. We fear rejection because we believe it erases our worth. But when you step into discomfort by choice, you shatter the illusion. You see it clearly. Failure can't kill you. Rejection can't define you. Loss can't take away your inner strength. I remember the first time I tried a cold shower. Shock hit my body, and I wanted to quit instantly. But after a few minutes, I realized I was still there, still breathing, still alive, and more awake than ever. That moment taught me something. Fear is always bigger than reality. Voluntary discomfort is not self-punishment. It's training. It makes you a spiritual warrior. Because once you've chosen hardship for yourself, life's surprises don't break you as easily. So today, pick one small discomfort. Maybe a cold shower. Maybe an evening without your phone. Maybe waking up earlier to face what you usually avoid. And say it with me, I am stronger than comfort. I choose to face hardship. I am free. That is the Stoic spirit. That is the path to true peace. Practice 7. Amor fati. Love your fate. Have you ever whispered in despair, why me? An unexpected breakup. A career door slammed shut. A doctor's call with news you never wanted to hear. We fight. We resist. We beg for life to be different. But what if the very things you're trying to push away are the things you need for your journey. The Stoics had a name for this amor fati, the love of fate, not just accepting what happens, but embracing it sweet or bitter as an essential part of the path. Nietzsche once wrote, "My formula for greatness is amor fati. No wishing for anything different. No stepping back, no stepping forward, no changing for all eternity." He wasn't telling us to enjoy pain. He was telling us to turn pain into fuel for growth. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "The obstacle to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Think back to a failure that once crushed you. At the time, it felt like a punch to the chest. But looking back, didn't that fall force you to change, to grow patience, to discover a new direction? Adversity is not the enemy. It's the ruthless coach forging you in fire like steel. I remember a project of mine collapsing completely. Instead of glory, I got shame. I drowned in regret, until one day I whispered amor fati. Then I asked, what is the lesson here? How can I turn this into strength? That single question shifted everything. Fate was no longer a betrayer. Fate was a teacher, and adversity became a stepping stone toward growth. You can do the same. The next time you lose a job, get rejected, or life knocks on your door with something harsh, breathe. Whisper, amor fati. Then ask, what can this teach me? How can I make this my strength? In that moment, you are no longer crushed. You are learning to dance with fate. Amor fati won't paint your life in rosy colors. It will make you a warrior who can stand strong no matter the colors life throws at you. It teaches you to stop wasting energy on why me and start living with what now. Amor fati is freedom. Because when you can love even adversity, nothing can conquer you. So right now, say it with me. I love my fate. I welcome whatever comes my way. I turn obstacles into strength. When you stop fighting life, you finally start living. And in that embrace, you discover peace. Practice. 8. Limit your inputs. Have you ever noticed this? In the morning, your mind feels like a clear glass of water. And then just a few minutes of doom scrolling, a couple of negative headlines, a few complaints from people around you. Suddenly, that clear glass is cloudy. Why do we let the world pour garbage into our minds and then wonder why we feel drained? The Stoics knew this truth. You cannot nurture peace if your mind is filled with trash. Seneca once said, "Associate with those who will make you better, and you will become better too." That wisdom doesn't only apply to people. It applies to everything we consume. The news, social media conversations, even the whispers of fear that creep in from others. Your mind is like a garden. Leave it unattended and weeds will take over. Anxiety is those weeds fed by negativity, endless comparisons, pointless arguments. So why not build a fence around your garden? Start simple. Unfollow the accounts that make you anxious, jealous, or angry. Limit news consumption to 5 or 10 minutes a day. Enough to stay informed, not enough to drown. Step back from conversations that are only complaints and fear-mongering. You might wonder, won't I miss something important? No. In fact, you'll regain focus. When you cut the noise, you create space for clarity, strength, and calm. I remember my own season of endless doom scrolling, refreshing feeds, reading every comment, devouring every rumor. The result? Exhaustion. Anxiety about things that had nothing to do with me. It was only when I limited my inputs that I realized 90% of what I consumed was useless. It stole energy I could have used to learn to create or simply to enjoy a peaceful moment. Modern science backs this up. Too much stimulation floods the brain, raises cortisol, kills focus, and feeds chronic anxiety. Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you that defines you. It's how you respond." But how can you respond wisely if every day you're feeding your mind with poison? Limiting your inputs is how you reclaim your response. You don't have to open your mind to every bit of noise. You have the right to choose. You have the right to protect your inner silence. So today, try this. Limit your inputs for just 24 hours. Then notice the difference in your mind and say it with me. I protect my mind like a garden. I plant seeds of strength. I do not let the weeds take over. Because in a world drowning in noise, peace belongs to those who choose wisely. Practice 9. Focus on virtue, not outcomes. Have you ever felt like you're trapped on a hamster wheel, running and running, but still haunted by the same questions? Will I succeed? Will they approve of me? Will the outcome be what I hoped for? We chain our peace of mind to results, and in doing so, we forget the only thing that truly belongs to us is how we choose to live. The Stoics saw success differently. For them, success was not glory out there, not money, not fame, not applause. Success in their eyes was living true to your values: honesty, courage, discipline, compassion. Epictetus once reminded us, don't demand that things happen as you wish. Wish them to happen as they do, and you will remain serene. You cannot control outcomes, but you can control the quality of your character in every action. Marcus Aurelius said it simply, if it's not right, don't do it. If it's not true, don't say it. That is the measure. Not winning or losing, but right or wrong. Think about this in real life. You prepare for a big presentation. Instead of obsessing they like me ask yourself, did I speak with honesty, with courage, or you get rejected from a job? Instead of sinking into shame, I failed, ask, did I act with integrity? Did I give my best? Anxiety is born when we tie our worth to results, things outside our control. Peace comes when we tie our worth to virtue, something always in our hands. I remember a project where I failed badly. Everyone looked at the numbers, but when I looked inside, I saw this: I kept my word. I worked with discipline. I treated people fairly, and in that moment, I felt peace. Because that failure did not define me. My honesty and discipline did. It's like tending a garden. You cannot command the flowers to bloom. You can only plant, water, care for the soil. Blooming is the outcome. But living as a faithful gardener, patient, diligent, sincere, that is the true victory. Outcomes can change, but the virtues you choose will stay with you for life. So from today, before every action, don't ask, will I win? Ask, will I do what's right? And repeat after me, I live by values, not results. I choose honesty, courage, discipline, and compassion. I have already succeeded because I live true to myself. That is freedom. That is the strength of a Stoic soul. Practice 10. Serving the community. Have you noticed? Most of our anxiety circles around a single word, me. What will I lose? Will I fail? What will they think of me? The mind spins tighter and tighter until it feels suffocating. But what if the secret to easing anxiety isn't shrinking into me, but opening outward by serving others? The Stoics understood this deeply. We are social beings. We weren't born to live in isolation. We were born to connect, to support, to lift each other. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, Human beings are made for the sake of one another. If not to serve, then why live at all? Think of a time you were under crushing stress. Your mind spiraled around your own fears and losses, but then you helped someone. You listened to a friend. You encouraged a colleague. You shared a small piece of wisdom, and suddenly your anxiety eased. Why? Because when we shift the focus from ourselves to serving others, fear shrinks, and meaning takes its place. Service doesn't require grand gestures. It starts small. A kind word, a smile, a quiet, "I'm here if you need me." Tiny actions that can brighten someone's day. And here's the paradox. When you lift someone else, you also lift yourself. Even personal failure can be service. Didn't hit your goal? Share what you learned so others avoid the same mistakes. You stumbled, turn that fall into a lesson for your community. Failure once shared stops being a wound. It becomes a gift. I remember a time I was drowning in crisis. All I could see was myself, my exhaustion, my shame, my fear. Then I decided to pour my energy into mentoring a group of young people just starting out. I listened, I guided, I shared my story, and something amazing happened the more I gave, the lighter I felt. Anxiety faded, replaced by connection and purpose. Seneca once said, "No one can live happily who thinks only of themselves." Modern science agrees. Service releases oxytocin and dopamine, the hormones of connection and peace. Service is the antidote to selfishness, to fear, to the endless mental spin. It widens your vision. It strengthens your heart. Because serving others doesn't just help them, it heals you. When you give, you receive peace. When you lift others, you also stand taller. So today, try one small act. Send a word of encouragement. Help a coworker. Call an old friend. You'll be surprised how quickly anxiety dissolves. Now repeat after me, I live to serve. When I lift others, I lift myself. I find peace in sharing. Because the deepest peace doesn't come from controlling everything. It comes from walking together, serving together in this journey of life. Have you ever wished that the storms of life would just stop? That one day no more chaos, no more loss, no more fear. But the truth is, life will never run out of storms. There will always be a new challenge, a sudden piece of bad news, something beyond your control. You can't command the wind to stop blowing. You can't order the sea to stay still, but you can train yourself to stand strong in the storm. That is the spirit of Stoicism. This path doesn't promise you'll never feel anxious. It doesn't promise life will be easy, but it gives you something far greater, the ability to master yourself in the middle of chaos. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That strength doesn't come from controlling the world. It comes from controlling yourself. Think back on the journey we've taken together. We learned to separate what's in our control and what's not. We practiced living in the present, grateful for the smallest things. We imagined hardship ahead of time to weaken fear's grip. We reviewed each night, not to punish, but to grow. We embraced amor fati, loving our fate, turning obstacles into the path. We limited our inputs, guarding the mind like a garden. We chose virtue over obsession with results. And finally, we learned to serve others, because lifting them also lifts ourselves. These aren't just 10 techniques. They're a way of life, a path that makes you stronger, calmer, kinder. Yes, you will still face storms, But instead of trembling, you'll stand tall. Instead of being swept away, you'll anchor in your values. Instead of closing in fear, you'll open your arms to lift others. Stoicism doesn't turn you into a cold stone. It turns you into a warrior who can endure and still love. A soul steady in the storm, but gentle toward the pain of others. So if there's one truth you carry from this journey, let it be this: you cannot control the storm, but you can train yourself to stand strong within it. And in that strength, you will find peace. Now repeat after me: I master myself. I live with virtue. I serve my community. These aren't just affirmations. They're a compass for your life. Choose one principle. Begin today. Because when you live by it fully, no storm can ever touch your soul.